we warned you on the Chiefs. You can't live off slim margins. You can't keep winning one-score games. The AFC West is just too good. And by the way, next up, Philadelphia, and the Chiefs are a home dog. I'm not saying they're going to go 7-10, but once you pay the quarterback, you got to start hitting on a lot of draft picks. Rashee Rice is a hit. He can't stay eligible. Travis Kelce ran over Xavier Worthy. So the NFL is engineered to bring the big dogs back to the middle. It's hard. It's really hard.
Shut up, Brian. Welcome to the pod. Welcome to Brian's World. I am your host, the ambassador of Kansas City, Brian B. Shynin. And thank you so much for joining me on this week's episode, man. I know that you could have been anywhere else in the world, but you're here with me. Love and appreciate you for that, man. And this week's episode is jam-packed full of good stuff. But first, man, make sure that you hit my fam up at Foolish Club Media. Make sure you like, subscribe, and review on all platforms that we're available, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on YouTube. And you already know, you got to follow directions on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button to the B Shynin page, man. Brian B. Shynin page got everything that you need because Brian's World drops every single Wednesday right here on this YouTube channel. And you can check out my Hustle and Shine content. You can check out my mixes, beats, everything else that I got going on at my B Shynin page on YouTube. This week, we got to recap Chiefs versus Chargers. What happened in Brazil? I'll give you my thoughts on all of that. And it's a lot. Chris Jones, the defense, Xavier Worthy. We got a lot to get to with that. Plus, I'll let you know why I have a high respect for the Philadelphia Eagles. I know I've been jeffing with other teams lately. You know, I had my whole thing with the Cowboys and that documentary. But look, man, you got to respect your opponent. And I'll tell you why I have a high respect for the Philadelphia Eagles as we go into this week's matchup, the rematch of Super Bowl 59, and some NFL observations from week one around the league. Man, it was a wild and crazy week one. I have a lot of thoughts about that. B Shynin's bets. We got some dubs last week. And I got a feeling that this week, I'm going to make somebody a little bit of money. Of course, we got a fit check coming up. And there's this video that I came across. Actually, Deanna Hustle sent it to me. There's this youth football coach speaking to this teenager. It's tough love, but necessary love. I can't wait to dive into that in this week's episode of Brian's World.
We can learn from this as we move forward, which we'll do. I've got to make sure I get my team in a better state there coming out, playing with more emotion. And we were a little flat that first half, and that cost us. There were some good things in there, but again, we've got to make sure we take care of business with that, and that's my responsibility. So, listen, I expect more than that. I've got to make sure we come out with better emotion. And, you know, it's a nice big stage for us, and against a good football team, and they made a couple plays early, got things going, and we weren't able to do that, and I thought they did a better job in that area. So,
I told you my expectations were high for this team, specifically for the offense, and I'm gonna hold my word. I'm gonna be tough on these guys because I was disappointed in that offense. The first half, generally speaking, they kind of got it together in the second half. But I was disappointed with the execution of that offense, man. And it's kind of concerning, especially when the running game wasn't going. The offensive line had a couple of issues. I thought they overall, the O-line held their own. But there was no sense of energy. It was no sense of aggressiveness. No tenacity. Like, they came out kind of flat. And I'm just wondering why. All the hype that was being built into the game. The international game, Brazil, week one. I just felt like there's no excuse for this team to not have energy and for them to come out and not match what the Chargers were bringing, because it looked like it was week 1 for them in terms of their energy. They looked refreshed. They looked like they had a great training camp. We looked like we still hanging on to the Super Bowl loss, at least in the first half with the offense. Now, I will say that Xavier Worthy's injury probably threw a wrench into a lot of the plans that the Chiefs had in that first half with the offense. I'm pretty sure that injury threw a wrench into the plans that the Chiefs had coming out in the first quarter with the offense, because they were really struggling in that first half. Halftime, they made some adjustments. But I think one of the biggest things is, besides the Xavier Worthy injury, in which he's, day to day, the lack of a running game, bro. Like, we run the ball 11 times. It's like we learned nothing from the Super Bowl. And it's not like the Chargers had a big lead, like a 14, 17 point lead where they just completely took the running game out. No, that was never the case. The running game was always there, and it was so much there that Patrick Mahomes had to take charge with the running game, and he had to get those yards because that was the only thing available. They were covering. They were playing coverage almost the whole game, and yet Andy Reid had this flaw when he came to Kansas City about not running the ball. And if it's there, if those yards are there, and the passing yards clearly aren't at some points, I just don't understand why he cannot get this running game going when it's clearly there for the taking. But other than that, man, Hollywood Brown dropping a wide-ass open third down conversion really pissed me off at the beginning of the game. He ended up having a good game. But it's those little things, man. I didn't see the Chargers dropping third down conversions. So I just have a problem with the Chiefs not matching the energy of the other team, especially with the stakes. Division opponent. Never mind all the YouTube and the international stuff, man. Like, when it comes down to on the turf, on the field, like, this is your division rival, and you couldn't match the energy. Big problem with that. We did see a glimpse of young Kelsey. That was a part of the reason of why my expectations were high, because how Andy Reid could come out and design some shit like that. Go back and look at that play. And look at that design that Andy Reid has on there. It was a masterpiece. And not to perfection. The offense didn't execute it to perfection because Kingsley Sumatai didn't quite do his job all the way. Good enough to get a score as Travis Kelce showed off the wheels. I was excited about that play because we hadn't seen that many plays like that from this Chiefs team the past couple years. And you saw glimpses of what this offense could be and what it should be, frankly. Thornton, we know that coming into this game in preseason, he had potential, and he delivered a couple times with a couple of long passes from Patrick. That's another thing I got to hop on that I talked about on Starcade Media's Arrowhead Allies this week, is that Patrick Mahomes' deep ball accuracy is not where it should be, or not matching the other quarterbacks in the league. You see that Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson battle they had, and you saw Lamar Jackson was able to hit DeAndre Hopkins with a deep pass. You saw Josh Allen hit several deep passes, and it's just, we haven't seen that in a minute from these Chiefs. And part of that is Patrick Mahomes. It is. That's a weakness he has to get stronger at, is his deep ball accuracy. And it's not just with Tyquan Thornton. It's not just the current receivers on the roster. Hollywood, Worthy. Last year, you saw him having trouble with Worthy with the deep ball. You saw him having trouble with McCole Hardman with the deep ball a couple times. Justin Watson a couple times. Now, he did hit Watson a couple times, but there were several missed deep opportunities to some of those guys. I got some concerns about this team. Not anything that the Chiefs can't fix during the season, it did look like a typical early season Andy Reid Chiefs team. And of course, several reasons for that. But leading the way, man, not having a running game, it's a big problem. Especially with the way that football is played now. But that got me to thinking too, though, with Patrick running all over the field, hit-sticking defenders, specifically defensive backs. A defensive back hate to see Patrick Mahomes coming, boy. And I don't think that this is going to happen because this team is scared to let Patrick Mahomes run a damn quarterback sneak. But what if we had more run design plays for Patrick Mahomes? And we really turn him into Patrick Vick, especially with the way that teams are playing defense now. Why not? It was working. Those were some of the biggest plays that the Chiefs had, was Patrick Mahomes running the ball by himself. Again, probably never going to happen with this regime. And he's getting older. He's about to be 30 next week. So that's also something to consider. But what about winning? What about winning? Whatever it takes to win. I'm sure Patrick, that's it. You already know that's his attitude. But if something is effective, use it. I'm not saying turn him into Lamar Jackson, or I'm not saying that. But if these things are effective against these defenses which are playing coverage, why not throw in a zone option read here and there? He got the wheels to do it. He's got the size to do it.
Pause. That was crazy.
If it's there, why not take it?
Pause.
Another concern I had, Jawan Taylor's penalties are starting to kill drives. Hell, it almost killed the drive at the end of the first half when, by the way, Dave told Andy Reid, fantastic coaching sequence right there with getting the field goal team on the field, getting that field goal made before the half, because that was a big mistake by the Chargers that really could have cost them the game, but of course they overcame it. But that was just efficient coaching that I don't think Andy Reid and Dave Toll is getting enough credit for. But his penalties, the reason why we had to rush and do all of that, part of that was because of him. Because the play before, or two plays before, he had a false start, one of many he had week one, and then Josh Simmons got a false start, which made the Chiefs have to back up 10 yards. You saw the play from Noah Gray, try to get out of bounds, and so forth. That could have cost us that right there, with Jawan Taylor's penalties, along with other drives that he's stalled out because of singularly him. I saw a stat this week that said he's been penalized 36 times since he became a Chief, which leads the league by a long stretch. And I know they've gone over this with him since he's gotten here. This is fundamental day one football things that you learn in Pee Wee football. To not be offsides and to not have a false start. And it's every single play. He's either sneaking, trying to get a quick start, or he's leaning or something. And it's not like he needs the extra step, but I don't really see Jawan Taylor getting beat that often. Maybe he gets beat to the inside more, but I don't really see him get beat to the outside a lot. I'm not saying it's not happened. Of course it's happened. But I'm trying to figure out, why are you so itchy to get this head start that's costing your team? It's not worth it, is what I'm trying to say. What you're trying to do is not worth drive stalling out, taking us out of field goal range. It's not worth it, bro. So I don't understand how, as not even as a coaching staff, because I know they've told him, bro, come on. You saw the frustration with Kelsey when he got up in his face. It was like, bro, come on. But as a player, you don't sense enough now to know that, first off, the refs are going to be looking at you for this now. Because it's been consistent 3 years on national TV. Everybody's been talking about it. So it's as a player, you can't self-correct that yet. It's a big problem, dog. It's killing us. And then speaking of players getting into it with the Chiefs, the whole Drew Tranquil and Chris Jones thing, I'm not about to read a lot into that. Not right now. Simply because it is week 1. And I think that Chris Jones was more so experimenting. See what he can get away with. Yes, it cost us a game. Will it cost us home field advantage? Maybe. We don't know yet. Was it a selfish play? Yes. And Chris Jones was thinking about himself instead of the other 52 guys that's on the roster and the coaching staff and everybody else that puts their blood, sweat, and tears into trying to win football games.
Tough day. Kind of took an inside move. I put the blame on me. Probably could have contained better. Well, the tackle jumped me. I think we was in even. 2 3s, 2 5s. And just should have stayed outside. I blame me. Could have pass rushed better. Could have had a better pass rush. Could have contained better. I blame myself. I think this is a learning point for us as a team, also more particular in the defense. It's a lot of learning points we can learn and grow from. First game of the season, I'm quite sure we can watch the film, make some corrections, and we'll be better next week.
It's a mistake. He acknowledged it. He knows it's on him, and I can only think that this is going to fuel him and the rest of the team for the rest of the year. And he'll be slow to, take gambles and risks like that because he saw a straight line to the quarterback, which was probably a sucker move anyway on behalf of the Chargers. I think the Chargers kind of outcoached the Chiefs in that game. But it was probably a sucker move to sucker him in on the inside so that Justin Herbert can have that escape going into the outside and getting that first down. So hopefully Chris Jones can learn from that and be better. But it was kind of a selfish decision on his behalf. I was disappointed in the offense, but even more disappointed with the defense. It was a pathetic performance. It was bad, especially on third down when the defense could not get off the field. And that's what made the Chris Jones play hurt even more is because it was 3rd and long. We got a 2-minute warning coming up. So you're giving Patrick Mahomes 2 minutes to go down the field and cook up and try and win this game. Chiefs are down 6. And, Patrick goes down, gets a 7. We win the game, and everybody's perspective changes. But the defense could not get off the field. Not only on that 3rd and long, it was several 3rd and longs. It was like another 3rd and 13 or 3rd and 14 that the Chargers picked up earlier in that game. It was ridiculous. And it killed us throughout the entire game. How on 3rd down, the Chargers played their best ball, and they were so efficient. And the no pass rush, the defensive backs kept getting toasted on an open flame. Like Justin Herbert was back there broiling our defensive back, not Trent McDuffie. Everybody else, though, flame broiled, having it his way. Burger King style, dog. It was ridiculous how Justin Herbert was cooking up the Chiefs defense. But a lot of that was self-inflicted too. If you look at the tape, you see a lot of the Chiefs defenders running into each other, not knowing what their assignments are, not being at the right place at the right time in certain zones. Yeah, that was a big problem. Communication, Justin Reed, the former chief, of course, down in New Orleans, but he was responsible for getting a lot of calls in, making sure everybody was organized, putting people in certain places. You can't have both. You can't have a terrible pass rush, and you can't have your defensive backs getting cooked. Unfortunately, on defense, they kind of work in tandem like that. So if your defensive line isn't getting to the quarterback, your defensive backs are going to get cooked. It's just... And it's the opposite. It's the total opposite. Your D-line is getting after the quarterback's ass. Your defensive backs is going to have an easy day. Probably several turnovers, several interceptions. So they have to work better, man, as a unit. Especially, I'm going to point the finger at the defensive line. Because Justin Herbert sat back there so comfortably with a cup of coffee and his bedroom slippers. Just chilling, dicing up the Chiefs' defense. He faced minimal pressure That whole game, there was some sacks. Drew Tranquil got him a couple sacks. There were a few other pressures, but there were times, bro, where Justin Herbert had 4, 5, 6 seconds to throw the ball. You can't have that, man. You cannot have that. So, yes, look, a little perspective, though. It is only week 1. And a lot of the flaws that the Chiefs have and that the Chiefs put on tape can be corrected with coaching, with more time playing together on the field, with more practice, more reps, man, in general. So it's a long season. It was a road game for all intents and purposes. It was a road game for both, but on paper it was a road game for the Chiefs. So you get the Chargers again at Arrowhead later in the season against a tough division rival. They were a playoff team last year, and that, Chiefs fans, you got to respect your opponent. That I got a big problem with people who just think that the Chiefs are supposed to run over everybody. It's a playoff team. They got NFL talent too. They got probably a future football Hall of Fame coach coaching them too. Some fans got to check themselves and humble yourself and respect your opponent, because that's how a lot of times you lose games and you lose in life, by not seeing what you're actually up against and not taking it serious. But again, man, it's going to be a long season. However, look, Chiefs Kingdom, this week, we need that vintage. Arrowhead gots to be rocking this week. Any other game of the year, okay, fine. But this week, it should be personal for Chiefs fans, especially since the team actually needs the fans. Since they didn't have no energy in Brazil this week, the fans have to help this team out. Of course, best we can in the stands or whatever. We're only fans. We're not playing on the field. But it does help. And this is the home field advantage that we have in Kansas City. So we need a playoff-like atmosphere. We need a loud environment for these Eagles coming in. Because, the Chiefs got to get it back in blood by plucking these birds this weekend. Shut up, bro.